Hello! Thank you for joining this training on Chancellor's Regulations A-832 and A-831 for the 2020 to 2021 school year. Let's start with the basics. What type of conduct is this training about? This training is about conduct that falls under Chancellor's Regulation A-832, student-to-student discrimination, harassment, intimidation, and/or bullying, and Chancellor's Regulation A-831, student-to-student sexual harassment. Title IX is a federal law prohibiting sex discrimination and harassment in schools and in DOE's programs and activities. We will briefly touch on Title IX as it relates to student-to-student conduct. First, let's talk about Chancellor's Regulation A-832, student-to-student discrimination, harassment, intimidation, and/or bullying. Student-to-student bullying and harassment are the creation of a hostile school environment for another student by conduct or by threats, intimidation, or abuse, including cyberbullying, that have or would have the effect of unreasonably and substantially interfering with a student's educational performance, opportunities, or ability to participate in or benefit from an educational program, school-sponsored activity, or any other aspect of a student's education, or have or would have the effect of unreasonably and substantially interfering with a student's mental, emotional, or physical well-being, or reasonably cause or would reasonably be expected to cause a student to fear for their physical safety, or reasonably cause or would reasonably be expected to cause physical injury or emotional harm to a student. Such conduct can be physical, nonverbal, verbal, or written, and it may be a single incident or a series of related incidents. Acts of harassment and bullying include but are not limited to harassment, intimidation, and/or bullying on account of actual or perceived race, color, creed, ethnicity, national origin, citizenship or immigration status, religion, gender, gender identity, gender expression, sexual orientation, disability, or weight. Acts of discrimination, harassment, intimidation, and/or bullying may include, but are not limited to, physical violence, stalking, threats, taunts, teasing, aggressive or menacing gestures, exclusion from peer groups designed to humiliate or isolate, using derogatory language, making derogatory jokes, name-calling, or slurs, including statements based on any of the categories we mentioned on the previous slide. Written or graphic material, including graffiti, photographs, drawings, or videos containing comments or stereotypes that are derogatory of others, that are electronically circulated or are written or printed. Verbal or physical conduct that threatens another with harm. Hazing, and deliberately using a name, mispronouncing a name, or using a pronoun in a manner that discriminates, harasses, bullies, or intimidates based on any of the categories we mentioned on the previous slide. Now that we've gone over conduct that falls under Chancellor's Regulation A-832, let's go over conduct that falls under Chancellor's Regulation A-831. Student-to-student sexual harassment is unwelcome conduct or communication of a sexual nature, which is sufficiently severe, pervasive, or persistent as to substantially interfere with a student's ability to participate or benefit from an educational program, school-sponsored activity, or any other aspect of a student's education, or create a hostile, offensive, or intimidating school environment, or otherwise adversely affect a student's educational opportunities. Such behavior can constitute sexual harassment regardless of the gender, sexual orientation, gender identity, or gender expression of any of the students involved. And sexual harassment may be a single incident or a series of related incidents. Sexual harassment includes but is not limited to pressure or requests for sexual activity or favors, engaging in sexually violent or coercive behavior, for example, assault or rape, or forcing a person to perform a sexual act, engaging in physical conduct of a sexual nature, such as touching an individual's body or clothes, patting, kissing, pinching, grabbing, or brushing up against another person, making sexual comments, innuendos, remarks, insults, threats, teasing, and/or jokes, or asking unwelcome questions of a sexual nature, making graphic, verbal, or written comments about an individual's body, making obscene gestures, stalking a person, including through the use of technology, leering, sexual flirtations, or propositions, spreading lies or rumors of a sexual nature, recording, posting, displaying, and/or distributing without permission sexually oriented or suggestive images, videos, audio recordings, pictures, or drawings, and threatening or engaging in physical, sexual, verbal, and/or emotional abuse to harm, intimidate, or control a current or former or potential dating partner, otherwise known as dating abuse. Chancellor's Regulations A-832 and A-831 cover conduct during, before, or after school, on school property, or at school-sponsored events, or while traveling on DOE-funded vehicles, and off school property, when it might disrupt the educational process or endanger the health, safety, morals, or welfare of the school community. It is the policy of the DOE to prohibit retaliation against any student, parent, or DOE employee who in good faith reports or participates in an investigation of allegations under these policies. Any adverse act against individuals due to their participation in such protected activity is considered retaliatory. Retaliation will be investigated and subject to appropriate disciplinary action if substantiated. By the way, the term parent, whenever used in this training, means the student's parents or guardians, or any persons in a parental or custodial relationship to the student, or the student if the student is an emancipated minor or has reached 18 years of age.